Welcome back, everybody. This is WNF Podcast, We're Not Friends Podcast, episode 13. Isn't that crazy?
Wow, my time flies because I thought it was 12.
Nah, it was last week.
Oh, it's all a blur. It's all a blur.
13, yeah.
Lucky number 13?
Actually, it's unlucky.
Probably, as long as it took us to fucking set up the shot this morning.
Yeah, slightly changed the camera angles, so that way I'm a little bit more in shot as you were. Mine was a little bit further out. We just never fucked with it, and so it was just one of those things that we were like, whatever, and every episode we just kind of rolled with it. We literally have like tape on the ground to mark the areas where we do the shot, so, yeah.
We had a nice weekend this weekend. We actually, we are out of quarantine type vibes for the past 6 months, right? Like, I think people are getting a little more relaxed and back to normal. Obviously with wearing a mask and still social distancing, but people are doing, I think, more things around the city. We're still not really doing that much, just for our own safety.
Yeah.
However, I did go and get lunch recently with two of my friends / coworkers, and we spread out, ate at the park. We're socially distanced. It was cool, and so it made me think about doing an outdoor movie night with a couple of people. So we, in anticipation of doing a socially distanced and masked outdoor movie night, we got to set up in our backyard movie night last night with a projector and a screen. We popped popcorn, got our little like outdoor couch and tables all set up. It was really fun.
I didn't realize like there's like a stark contrast between low budget projectors versus like high budget projectors. It's crazy. It's like a difference between like a decent low budget projector is like $250. A decent like mid-level projector is like almost $700. So it's like, what the fuck? Why can't there be one like right around 400, 500 or something like that? But
yeah, we were like, I mean, there are, I guess they're just not ranked to your liking. We started this like, we'll just spend a couple $100. It's escalating from that. But you know what? After last night, I don't give a shit. It was fun. I think it was good for, I know it was good for my mental health. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We had some of that hard kombucha, which I finally convinced Sean is a healthier alternative to booze.
How that started, though, is you looked at me and said, wow, this is such a healthy drink. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's still alcohol. Like, no alcohol can be considered necessarily healthy. Healthier, maybe. And then you broke it down and you were like, well, it's, naturally derived alcohols instead of added alcohols, which I guess that is much healthier.
Because of the fermentation process.
Right. But I still don't think you can classify any alcohol as a healthy drink.
Sir, listen, there's no carbs, there's no sugars. It's organic. All of the ingredients are normal ingredients. I get my life cultures from it. Yeah, that sounds pretty damn healthy. So the added alcohol is just a bonus.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so just talking about that, it made me kind of think about some of the habits we formed during quarantine. Honestly, I think we had already kind of started to form a closer relationship in some of these habits just when we moved to Scottsdale, because we, again, didn't have any friends. And so I think some of these habits we've picked up, we've been able to grow and flourish even more during the past, 6 or so months. So an example of just some of the habits that I'm talking about, we put a lot of effort into enjoying our time together because we used to go out all the time with friends in Florida, and it would be like, go, 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 go. And it would always feel like we didn't have enough time together. So we started implementing spending more time together at home. We cook a lot more. And then we started working out together, which we used to do when we first started dating, but just, things changed, priorities changed. We get busy, so we couldn't get to the gym at the same time.
Yeah.
So we had already started that before quarantine. So I think kind of to keep our mental health together throughout the past 6 months, we've really consistently continued to focus on that healthy aspect of our relationship and keep that the same to kind of keep our sanity.
Yeah, obviously working from home all the time also includes having all of our meals at home. And since we have somewhat similar diets, we're both vegetarian and vegan, we want to eat healthy based on what our workout and diet goals are.
So we already enjoyed making meals and things together, but I think, not only has us being at home where we can do little nice things for each other, because each one of us are very stressed in our respective work. Like most days I work straight through lunch, and I may have a couple of minutes to get lunch, and Sean will be so kind on those days where I don't even have a couple of minutes to make me my like garden chicken salad and only give me half the portion that I normally eat. But, do little things like that here and there. Or he gets me my coffee or water when I'm stuck on a meeting. It's very, very sweet stuff.
Our schedules aren't like totally aligned. You start much earlier in the day. My schedule's about probably an hour and a half to 2 hours off of yours. Early in the morning, a lot of times I'll take Fabrizio on a walk, our dog. And so I can knock that out while you're running through your morning. It's cool because we've gotten to a rhythm where we know times in the day we're occupied with our work, and so we can kind of help each other out.
We were in such a habit of walking Fabrizio together every morning, even before quarantine. And then during quarantine, the weather was nice, so I had like a break early afternoon. We would all go on a walk, and I miss that so much. I'm so grateful for that time with you guys. I really am. And it like kills me every morning that I'm in calls instead of being able to walk with you guys, because it's just like a nice mental reset, like a fresh way to start the day. So it really blows that you have to do that. I just hate that. And I hope my job calms down a little bit more, because I very much value my time in the morning with you guys. But in the beginning of quarantine, just back on the food thing, because that's what we live our lives by. When we were kind of feeling like, oh God, after a couple of weeks, we did different types of themed nights, themed dinners. So like we would do.
Sounds so cheesy.
Oh my God, what do you want? Like, it was like, Jesus, we're here nonstop, and I just want to get out, because especially here, the weather was so nice, and that's the one time of the year that there's only like a couple of months where it's like perfect, and we didn't get to enjoy those. So it was like, okay, well, let's try to be creative, and we would do little different nights, like, oh, let's do Asian food, and we'll drink sake, or we'll do a Mexican night, which is just a normal night in our house, because we make Mexican food a lot.
Yeah, we do. On taking the dog for a walk, those kind of things, like getting out, that's so important, especially since we don't go out and drive anywhere, really. You know what I mean? Besides going to the gym, that's basically like the main thing that we go out and drive to, or little like appointments here and there for things. But being out in the sun, even though it's fucking hot some days, it's so important to just clear our minds that way. So I do feel bad in the days that you don't get to come out and walk with us, because I know that means that more than likely you'll either get like maybe a little bit of going out time and just getting some sun and breathing some fresh air. Some days you just fucking don't. You just roll through the entire day working. So that's the thing. There's tons of pros and cons with the working from home. We've experienced that already because of the fact that we have both worked in tech and have had the remote life already blended into our work life schedules, where other people in other industries that are experiencing this for the first time. So we have an advantage in that because we're already kind of used to this, where others may not be. We're fortunate that we have blended into each other's schedules to help each other out.
Probably a lot of people aren't used to operating separately like that, and I think being in the same house magnifies that they're not in a pattern or a rhythm together, because they're probably all up in each other's shit. Yeah. All day, every day. It's you're getting used to that type of way of living. And I think a lot of people are in each other's stuff all the time and probably are getting a little annoyed. Where we already kind of operate autonomously in our daily lives. So, like normally I don't even talk to Jean about my work. That's something that's changed with quarantine. I don't talk about it. I keep that to myself, or I complain to my coworkers. But that's like, I think you know a little bit more about my work over quarantine. I know a little bit more about yours. We really stay out of each other's way, like during the day. I'm in my office. Jean has our bedroom as his office. And so every once in a while, I'll want to like check on the guys because I haven't seen them for hours. So I go in and like I'll sit on the bed and ask Sean like, hey, what are you doing? How's your morning? But other than that, we don't really interact a lot throughout the day.
I think it wouldn't be a benefit for us if we were both like, say we were like sharing an office and working in like in the same space. I've heard some people do that, and I imagine that, and I'm like, oh man, you can't even usually do that with coworkers. Whenever you share like the same kind of area, either in a cubicle or in like an office where there's like multiple desks in one office, I never worked well in that setting, and it would always be that you would end up like talking over each other, whether you were on separate calls or you'd find each other's issues with one another, like maybe one person like somewhat like talks to themselves or something like that, or maybe somebody, whenever they're reading over things, they'll repeat out loud certain notes. Like I definitely fucking dealt with that with some of my coworkers, and that would end up being like so annoying that I would like literally just get up and walk out. So I'm glad that we've chosen not to work in the same space, because that would be fucking annoying.
I mean, that was never even a thought of mine. First of all, I never considered that. And I feel like you saying that some people talk out loud when they're reading back their emails is directed to me. Or where I would be like, you're a loud typer. So we would rip each other to shreds in that moment. Like,
for sure.
That's why Jean and I have never worked together. I love Jean so much. I am very particular about my work. Jean is very particular about his, and that's not something that I think we could do really well together, but I think there would be growing pains, and I'm not interested in that.
I agree. I mean, this is the most work that we have together, is doing this podcast. And even then, there are like easily head-butting moments where we'll have a conflict on the way that we're doing something. So yeah, I definitely agree that I'm glad that we have our own separate state of mind that we have from each other. And then every once in a while we'll connect during the day, but very rarely. So when we shut down at the end of the day, our schedules are slightly off by about an hour and a half to 2 hours. You starting earlier, me ending later. That's one thing that we could probably do much better, is actually officially like wrapping up our days and making that closer. And so whenever we do wrap that up, if we were to shut down, like say somewhat like a time in between, like you sometimes have the opportunity to wrap up closer to 4. I sometimes have the opportunity to wrap up closer to 6. If we wrapped up somewhere around 5, I think that would probably be a benefit to us. And we do that naturally sometimes, but there are definitely times where we won't, and we'll end up completely off. And so then it's us, like our relaxation time is kind of weird. So that's something we could definitely do better.
I mean, definitely we at least get a show in at night, typically. At least like a 30-minute thing that we can both sit and chill and watch, hopefully. Yeah, I think it would be better if our schedules were a little more aligned, for sure. But this is just part of it. Going to the gym. So that was something that we were like really aligned on when we first moved here. Then I started going more frequently than you, and my workouts were longer, so we kind of got off where we were each taking a car. I actually just started going to the gym this week. I haven't gone since March. I've been working out at home. But when we have been, for the couple of months that you weren't going to the gym and we were working out at home, we found a way, I think, to during the weekend do our workouts around the same time. We even did like some ab workouts together and things like that. So we even found a way to enjoy that outlet together during the past 6 months again, which has been nice.
Getting that kind of personal life balance back in place is so important. And I know for me, I have been going out and grabbing a coffee with like colleagues in the industry and all that, and it is a benefit to me. I know that I've enjoyed that, and like you said at the beginning, you've gone out to lunch with some colleagues, and that's been a benefit to you, and that you found that to be like a nice, relaxing thing, a break from your day. So,
yeah, I mean, we're balancing it, right? I'm not doing this frequently. You're not doing that frequently.
yeah,
We wear our mask. We socially distance. It's gotten to the point where for our own mental health, and I think others, there's some people that are really lax with it. There are some people stricter than us. But we're getting to the point where it's been so many months. I got to make sure my mental health is good because it is crumbling right now from work.
yeah,
So if that makes me feel good in the middle of the day, I have 30 minutes and I go down the street to pick up a smoothie or a juice at the juice bar to go.
yeah.
So be it. That's helping me to get out a little bit and feel a little better, but I'm still being smart about it. It's interesting. We'll see how our routines get back into place. I'm curious, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, Sean and I are like, cool, we'll spend it alone. We've done it many times before, and you know what? Not gonna fucking lie. That's my favorite holiday, is when I get to spend it with Sean. Absolutely love it. All of my favorite holidays that I've ever spent, it's been Sean and I, or Sean and I like and two of our best friends. Or, one of our best friends. Just a small knit group of people, or me and you, and we have fun with it.
We have some family that live nearby, but we don't have like a ton of family live nearby. So we do have the benefit of just being able to just tell like the limited family we have here, hey, let's just do our own thing. And for the most part, we'll see how that goes in this quarantine time. Like we haven't had to hang out often with some of that family, and that's been fine because you don't force yourself to just hang out just for the sake of fucking just hanging out and spending time with the family. We can definitely do that better now that we're starting to go out and do things. So, that's something that I think is probably also an additional thing to kind of add back into the life is the family time. We did some of the house party hangouts, like the house party app stuff, where we did, happy hours with either colleagues or friends of ours via FaceTime or webcam or whatever, and just would like sit there and talk to them and have a drink with them and play online games with them. And, I it's kind of sad because that was actually like a weird unifying kind of thing that I think a lot of people enjoyed together. And it was something that we made it a fun thing to do the happy hours online. And I think that we shouldn't forget that like we as like a society thought that it was so important to spend time with each other, even if it was silly happy hours, doing it that way.
Yeah, so I thought it was fun. I mean, like we've said before, we moved here from Florida and miss so many of our good friends. Like, shout out to my girl Sonia, because happy hours with her and Chris were so fun. I miss them all the time. And we just all get so busy with our own shit. I don't think the initial thing is, like, we text a lot, but it's not like we're like, oh, let's FaceTime, right? That was so much fun. And so that was really uplifting for me, just to see our friends like that and shoot the shit and have those types of moments. So I hope that's one aspect that continues on, I think, in our social circle. And just, if you're apart, let's make it better by having a little happy hour on camera. I think that's fun. Can you imagine the couples? Like, this is what blows my mind. Can you imagine the couples that don't live together, or maybe they are, live apart in the US?
Yeah.
Long distance relationships during quarantine. Like, I know folks that travel 2 weekends a month maybe to see the person they're dating.
Right.
Or even they live, in the same town, but especially in the beginning, nobody was seeing each other. Like, you shacked up or you stayed separate.
It's like you're having to force yourself to either decide to go ahead and move ahead of time whenever this was all getting serious and go ahead and be in like the same area, or just go ahead and force each other to live together during the quarantine, or to know that you're probably not going to get on a plane as regularly as you did before. So that's
How did they know that? How
Yeah,
did they know?
right?
They didn't
That's
know that. That's
rough.
actually the point, is
That's rough.
you had no time to, nobody foresaw this.
Yeah.
So maybe people thought, hey, we'll be together for 2 weeks, and then they were stuck together for months.
Yeah.
Or it was like, it's cool, this will blow over in a couple of weeks. I'll see you soon. Can you imagine the toll on their relationship? That would be horrible. The mental aspect of it and just the rhythm you get in with seeing your partner.
Right.
But think about the physical aspect.
Yeah, that would be. I know that there were trends of people doing more of like the online date stuff. Like there were like, you see like commercials and shit like that of people doing that, and meeting somebody for the first time online and doing a date that way versus meeting them in person and catching like the nonverbal cues or like in-person stuff that you wouldn't catch. That's tough, you know what I mean? Because you're still like under this like veil of like not being in the same room, so you can't like feel each other's vibes very well, which would be, I don't know, it would be an interesting way to start a relationship.
I honestly think it would be for the better, because then you know that you guys do vibe on a mental level and you have a good rapport even beyond the physical. But I do think the physical is so important. And when I was talking about physical, I was talking about getting physical, because people that don't have sex turn into psychopaths. Is that not a fact?
I don't know. Are you talking about like incels? But yeah,
Well,
I mean,
that's a little
like,
extreme. It's just, I think people go crazy when they don't
Yeah.
have. There's a certain type of person that doesn't need that, but I think people do go crazy when they don't have physical touch
for sure.
or sex.
Yeah, it would be rough for dating for sure to not have all the same type of norms, being able to be in person, have sex, or to just be physical with one another. So, I mean, for us, I don't know if you thought about this at the beginning of the quarantine, but I definitely wondered, you know, we're spending all this time at home. I was like, I wonder if this will bring up the amount of sex we have depending on like how much time we're around each other. Did you think about that at all whenever we were first like locking down for quarantine?
No, because when we were first locking down for quarantine, you and I constantly, all we talked about is the damage this is doing to small businesses, the damage this is doing to so many people in the service industry. I mean, that was literally a daily thing because of Jean's job, especially. He talks to people like that. So it was just like nonstop fucking Debbie Downer every day. So I have to tell you, no, I didn't think about that. And I remember being like, I have no desire to be physical right now. I am so depressed.
Obviously, it goes to show what kind of piece of shit that I am. Like that I'm sitting here selfishly thinking about my own sex life while everybody else is like going through depression. I got depressed for sure because I had a lot of conversations with small businesses and they were telling me about all the issues they're running into, you know, letting go of tons of employees, letting go of locations that they really, you know, liked and that maybe they just opened. But anyway, yeah, I mean, for sure our headspace was not in the greatest place for sex. I wonder, how do couples rebound from all this depressing stuff and then just trying to keep themselves sane by keeping their sex life normal?
I think, one, there's a certain type of person that compartmentalizes easily. And so they're able to tuck away those feelings, you know, for whatever thing that they're trying to focus on. I did not compartmentalize easy. I don't. I'm constantly thinking about a million things. And so, I mean, I have the ability to. I just don't normally do that in my personal life. So I think there's another aspect of this as well, that I felt so thankful just to be in my situation with you and to, you know, not be sick and to have the extra time, that once we got over that initial just horrible and depressing news, that I started to turn it into a thing of gratitude and, you know, kind of think that way, which allowed me to manage, I think, a little better my mental health with all of the news coming in, because I kept looking at the positives. What I can't imagine is, how did the people with children maintain their relationship while they've got the same depressing shit they're listening to all the time? They have possible issues with their job. Maybe they have one. Maybe they lost theirs. They have to support a family.
Yeah.
They have to manage that together as a couple. The children are home all the time while they may be working. Like, I don't know how anybody can maintain their relationship and sanity in that. I have to give all power to the couples that have children because our dynamic is way, way different than them. Those people, like, how did they maintain any physical closeness when they're dealing with all of that during the day? Because I'm sure they're just exhausted at night. When they hit the pillow, they're just like, fuck, I just want some sleep. They probably don't even want any closeness.
Would you think that there would be some long-term damage for most people's sex lives?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's either or, man. I think it's long-term damage, or it could be this made them more grateful for that extra time, regardless of how little it is, that they have together. I mean, there were a lot of quarantine babies. Don't get it twisted.
That's true. Yeah, you heard about that. I didn't really understand that whenever people were saying, like, I think they were, like, tying it into that people were drinking more while they were in COVID, and therefore, like, couples that drink more are having more sex. I don't know. But I guess that's kind of like the tie-in with it. But I could tell, like, I mean, we went to the liquor store quite a bit to buy, like, just alcohol and things like that because we were fortunate that our, local Total Wine has a thing where you just quickly online order, go over, and they drop it off, like, right into your car, and then you just drive off. So you have that because we're not going to the bars, but we still want to enjoy, like, our happy hour time. People were definitely fucking flooding the liquor stores. I'm serious. It was like packed parking lots. It was considered an essential business. So it was open the whole time. So people were definitely drinking more. So they were tying in people drinking more with people having more sex. So they were saying, oh my gosh, can you imagine the quarantine babies that are going to come out of this? And there's going to be a spike in that.
I don't think it was the drinking. I think people had more time to spend together because even people with families, they're home all weekend. Where used to, they probably went out for soccer. They probably went out for kid activities. So they probably did have maybe a little more time together, like on the weekends. I don't know about during the week. I don't know. It's all a mystery. I'm not a parent. I just know parents have very busy schedules. So I'm a little shocked that they got any time together, and I give them all the props in the world because if I have these feelings with you, I can't imagine what it would be like to have kids during this time and try to get some sense of closeness with you.
You talked about just the gratitude that you had with thinking about our health, thinking about, financially we were fine. We didn't have to stress about those types of things. I thought about those things as well. And I definitely know that feeling of gratitude did give me a feeling of warmth whenever I was around you because of the fact that I thought about what if I didn't have you in my life, or, what if you got sick, or what if I got sick, and how devastating that would be. I did feel more of an emotional response in the times that we were together.
Yeah, for sure.
So I can say that it definitely infused an importance in the time that we had together. When I reflect about quarantine and how we survived it, and I mean survived just meaning like our mental capacity, like our marriage, our relationship, I'm fortunate we don't have any permanent damage on any of that shit because I'm sure people did have that, not just on their relationship, but also financially and also their health.
Like overall, I'm not trying to get teary-eyed. It's just that is why we've taken this shit so seriously for so many months, because the ultimate thing for me has been, what if Sean gets sick?
Yeah.
What if he gets sick and dies? What are they going to do without me if I get sick and die? And so, like, not trying to be emotional, but that breaks my heart when I think about the people that lost their loved ones. So that's why we took this shit so seriously. That's why we're still taking it seriously, like, be a little more selfless assholes that still don't want to wear a fucking mask. Like, just do it, because there are people that lost the ones that they love that they'll never be able to get back. It's not that hard. And I'm so thankful for the time that I've gotten with you over the last couple of months. Like, truly, I'm so fortunate. Jean and I, our relationship, we have always craved the time together. And so I am so, so thankful that I was able to spend the last 6 months with you and enjoy our time like we did.
Yeah, I'm thankful that I got to as well, and that we, we're healthy and we're, financially stable, and that we can come out of this and just reflect on just the ways that we were able to cope with all the issues. And we're going to be able to move on with our lives and use this as something, to continue to grow our relationship.
Definitely. I mean, I'm all for getting my espresso brought to me every day. So
I'd be curious to see how other couples survive this. And we've talked to some people, and, I'd love to hear more from others. Anybody who's listening to this, tell us a little bit about your experience, whether you're single and how you went through the dating process with all this, or whether you're in a relationship and how you coped with your loved one. So yeah, let us know. I would love to hear that. You can reach out to us on social media. What's our social media handles?
At WNF Podcast. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook and Twitter.
Thanks everybody for listening. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Have a great week, y'all.
Bye guys.